we see the word justify, we can't read make righteous, because that's not the meaning of the word. It means to declare righteous. Now, is the person righteous that's declared righteous? Well, that's what we need to look and see. Well, we first have to look at the key word, justify. Justification, the verb is justify. And here, right at the very beginning, we find where part of the problem has been, especially for our Catholic brothers and sisters. Because the word justify in Hebrew, tzadak, in its causative form, it never means to make righteous. It consistently means to declare righteous. It's a legal term that is used to describe the pronouncement of the judge that the one under trial is acquitted, that he is declared in the right. The same as in the Old Testament, you find the Old Testament translated into Greek. So you've got the Greek word, dikaiao, and that's the same word that's used in the New Testament. And once again, this word in Greek, the verb, does not mean to make righteous. It means to declare righteous. It's a legal courtroom term to describe the pronouncement of the judge that one under trial is acquitted, declared in the right. That's the terminology. So we've got to start with that. When we see the word justify, we can't read make righteous, because that's not the meaning of the word. It means to declare righteous. Now, is the person righteous that's declared righteous? Well, that's what we need to look and see. And here's where the problem comes. That in the Latin, now remember, Jerome, the great church father, translated the Bible from Hebrew and Greek into Latin, Latin Vulgate. It was the lingua franca of the early ages. After the demise of the Greek Empire, there came the Roman Empire, which spoke Latin, and so Latin became the word of the church. And all the Bibles that were used throughout the 1,000 years, almost 1,500 years up to the time of the Reformation, were Latin Bibles. The priests, the pastors, the people had no access. Most of the people didn't have access to any Bible, but the ones that did have access to them only read it out of Latin. Now, you know, any of you who've worked from one language to another, that some words cannot be adequately translated into another language without some confusion. In this case, the Latin got the whole early church into trouble because Jerome translated these Greek and Hebrew terms, which mean declare right, and he translated it by justificare, which in its etymology, drawn from the Roman culture, meant to make just. And so Jerome started taking all these texts of Paul and all these texts which mean declare just, and he translated them and interpreted them mean to make righteous. So the whole church began to understand that justification was God making us righteous. And once we're righteous, then we can stand before Him, and then He can accept us based upon our righteousness. Salvation by works. And they could prove it from their Latin Bible. Martin Luther did not understand justification until he taught himself Greek and Hebrew. And then he went to the Latin and he said, Latin is not so good, because it distorts the basic meaning of what justification is.